Hello everybody! Welcome to a video from the official Osmond Ward YouTube channel. In today's video we will be discussing what Osmond Ward itself actually is, what books should be used with what kind of players, and the benefits and drawbacks of the system. So, to start off, what is Osmond Ward? Osmond Ward is a steampunk-themed and flavored tabletop RPG, utilizing a classless player creation system, lethal combat, and a visual, vibrant system in which players can be and do anything they set their minds to within reason. Osmond Ward as a system is set in and around the real-world time period of 1886 to 1920, putting it solidly in the beginning of the Edwardian period of history. As a result, many things in the system are not necessarily modern. While that is the case, they also allow for many things that would allow for a near-modern gameplay experience, such as primitive telephones, motor cabs, motorcycles, and bolt-action rifles. Due to the steampunk aspects of the game, however, many other interesting and exciting things can be found within the setting, such as airships, clockwork mechs, and Watch King fortresses. All of this makes for a fun, interesting, engaging, fleshed-out system that Dungeon Masters can use to reenact any of their high-flying, high-octane Saturday morning adventures. Some of the draws of Osmond Ward compared to other similar tabletop systems. I'll mark a timestamp down below for skipping over this if you guys want to, and just want to get into how to use the system. So, here are some of the draws of the Osmond Ward system. First off, classless players. A major draw of Osmond Ward compared to other tabletop RPGs is the fact that it does not utilize classes. I'll explain. While most typical tabletop RPGs would include classes as a system, this system has been designed so that players will never be boxed in by what they want to be, allowing them to jump between at least 40 different abilities, each with unique powers and uses associated. This allows players to build someone they find truly unique to their specific playstyle. A thing that I personally have found in various different tabletop RPGs like Dungeons & Dragons, for example, is if I want to play a barbarian, I can't take fighter or rogue things. I can't play a barbarian that is good with knives. I can't play a ranger that has skill with a greatsword, right? Hence, I wrote this system so that you can do stuff like that. You can take bits and pieces from everything and sort of build something truly unique to you. Another thing that you can find typically in Osmond Ward that is quite interesting is lethal combat. To explain that, for the more battle-hardened mercenaries among us, often we find that game systems, whilst challenging, aren't necessarily life-threatening. Osmond Ward is a bit unique in this case, as it has been designed from the ground up with the idea that firearms, while common, are extremely deadly. Explosives are coming into prominence in this area of history, aka Edwardian, and whilst armor exists, it is less effective at stopping bullets as one would like. As a result, the combat in Osmond Ward is built to be fast-paced, deadly, and strategic. Players would do well to coordinate themselves in order to gain the upper hand against their opponents, firing from cover, sharing initiatives, or they will rapidly be overcome themselves. Bullets will pierce armor, due to the fact that bulletproof vests and clothing weren't invented until about 1940, about 20 years post-setting. However, a big thing, this is coming to my head now, a big thing that does kind of make armor useful in setting is the fact that bladed weapons are still in prominence due to the steampunk era of the setting and the fact that rifles don't work on certain creatures. As a result, armor is only effective against blades, but magic and other systems are in place to advance your own AC, so bullets might not necessarily hit you still. Grit is another unique system in Osmond Ward. Built off of the ideas proposed by various TTRPGs in the form of luck points or specialized grit, grit is used to change and influence fate. Grit itself represents the player's willpower and the necessity to change things, allowing one to reroll dice, reroll attacks, and do things such as establish the existence of items useful for the player to advance the plot. Grid as a system is something that the player desperately needs to keep track of, however, as a player often starts play with an extremely limited pool, and grid does not come easily. However, by the time that a player is an exceptionally high level, they are a whirling dervish, changing the tides of fate through well-placed and used uses of such things. So from here, we'll discuss how to use Osmond Ward and his various system documents. Osmond Ward as a system only has a single product that a player needs to pay for in order to get the most out of it for now, the SRD. Everything else is a free or pay what you want product. However, some products in Osmond Ward are of more use to players than others, and others are specifically built for a world weaver. So here's a comprehensive list of what a player might want to pick up with their copy of Osmond Ward. As for the SRD, the Osmond Ward's SRD is usually the only necessary book for a full campaign if a player wishes to run a homebrew world in the setting of the Unbroken Chain. The SRD contains rules and guides for both players and aspiring dungeon masters, or as we call them, world weavers. Included within it are weapon lists, armor lists, ability and role lists, races, setting information, and dozens of other things that make it a comprehensive guide. This is your DM's guide, your player's handbook, and your marketplace book, all rolled into one. Osmond Ward Adventures is a series of small 60 to 70 page books set at a pay-what-you-want price point. These adventures have been written by myself personally for use in the setting of Osmond Ward, known as the Province of Fan. They are roughly 2 sessions long if you work at it a bit, and for me personally, when I was running with other players, they took 5 to 6 hours to complete. The Voyager's Guide to Fan Province is the final guide in this list, and while it isn't by any means the final product I am putting out, it will be the most recent one for a little while, as I am working on a guide to the Unbroken Chain and possible sci-fi stuff in the future. The Voyager's Guide contains all the information needed on Fan Province and the Unbroken Chain, including details of important NPCs, areas to explore, the Bloom, a dangerous angelic corrupting force, TAC, the world's currency, and the various wards, which are megacities that the players can use as home bases between and during their many adventures. In fact, some adventures even take place in these wards. All of these guides have been compiled by me and my friends, who are helping me to run Osmond in a personal testing bed server where we are playing a complete campaign with myself DMing, and we have been for about a year and a half now. We have been working very hard to make sure they are of good quality to read and use, and if anybody finds anything that is difficult to parse, please let me know at my Twitter, which will be discussed later in this little video. As for the artists and people working on the project, we make sure to hire people who are of small followings online, under about 1,000 followers personally. And we try to give them steady, well-paying work at double or even sometimes triple their asking price. We do our best to give artists and writers full creative freedom within the guidelines, so if you or someone you know wants to try their actual hand to work with me, please contact myself at @OsmondRPG on Twitter with examples of your work, and I will look them over. Okay, I think that's all I want to talk about for this introductory video. Thanks for sticking around. Hopefully I didn't talk your ear off. My next video here will most likely be on character customization and creation, as well as bits of detail on leveling up, because I have heard that is a confusing topic for the few players who have been actually working with the system. So yeah, figured I'd clear that up just a bit. All right, thanks. Happy to be of service to everybody here. I hope that you all enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace. Stop recording.